Cool. So as Ashley mentioned, so today's session will focus on the research edition of LabArchives. So let me share my screen. Okay, so first we'll start with a slide deck introducing LabArchives, and then afterwards we'll transition to the live demo. So this slide shows all LabArchives products. So all the products were created to help support researchers improving efficiency, productivity, and reproducibility. In terms of which products MCW has as an enterprise license, that's ELN, Electronic Lab Notebook, which is used to manage your research data and research notes and will be the main focus of our session today. So what is LabArchives Research Edition? So LabArchives is a digital research notebook that can be used to securely store, search, and share your research data online. We're cloud-based, which means you and your colleagues can access your research data anywhere securely using internet connections, such as Chrome, Safari, Firefox, for example. There's also tools available to enhance collaboration and communication among team members, which you'll see during our live demo today. And even though MCW does not have our inventory, during the live demo, I'll show you how the notebook and inventory are integrated, making it easy to use both products together in one seamless platform. So LabArchive supports the pillars of a well-formed data management plan, which is often a requirement for grant-funded research like your NIH grants, for example. LabArchive provides you with more than just a place to simply add and store your data. We have tools available for you to help apply metadata, for example, which helps you organize and locate data in the future. So for example, if your professor, maybe someone who gives you the grant, asks you, where is figure 4? Instead of spending a week finding figure 4 in your paper notebooks or your laptops, you can find it easily using our search features. We have full access control, which includes sharing restriction to protect your data. And also we have a storage solution, which makes it easy to access and manage past projects. To get started, I want to give you the opportunity to introduce your LibGuide. So Medical College Wisconsin has their own LabArchive LibGuide, which I'll provide you the link to the chat. And the LibGuide provides LibGuide is a great resource for you because it provides great information where, for example, this just shows you how to get started. So here you see first time logging in, and you contact MCWIS to request access to LabArchives. And once you have access, you then have the opportunity to click sign in. And when you click LabArchives, you see this screen. And since Medical College Wisconsin has single sign-on implemented with LabArchives, there's a couple ways you can log in. You can log in using your MCW's email address, which will then automatically take you to your single sign-on, or you can find it, Medical College Wisconsin, through the drop-down menu outlined in red. And of course, that will also take you to your single sign-on, where you can then use your your username and your password that are used in Medical College Wisconsin. And also included in the LibGuide are ways to create a notebook, organize your notebook, which you'll see during the session today. And of course, we have another tab called Training where you'll find the recordings. So this slide shows our wonderful global support team ready to assist you with any questions you may have or even request additional training. We have teammates based in the US, the UK, and Australia with close to 24-hour, 5 days a week support desk coverage. When you submit an email ticket, during working hours. We do respond to all email tickets within an hour, but our average response time is less than 30 minutes. And if, of course, if you prefer, you can also call our technical support directly or use a chat service. We have our help center, which includes our knowledge base, which is accessible with any product of you have, like so the ELN for research, for example, and includes over 100 detailed support articles to assist you when you're using the notebook. We also have additional training resources such as our webinars, our video tutorials, and our quick start guides available on our local support page. So let's talk about the good stuff now. Let's talk about how you can add data to your notebook. So the multiple ways you can add data to your notebook. Data can be uploaded from your laptop, your mobile device, or maybe directly added to LabArchives through one of a many supported entry types. LabArchives also integrates with the software you may already use, such as Microsoft Office, GraphPad Prism, Snapgene, and many others. And during our next week's session, our advanced topics, we'll talk more about our integration partners as well. Keep in mind, you can upload any file type to LabArchives, and once the data is uploaded, it's securely stored in the cloud. So for now, each individual file is 250 megabytes. However, your MCW LabArchives team are looking into larger file upload options, such as box integration. So stay tuned for that. And if you need to access data outside LabArchives, individual files can be downloaded as a PDF, or you can even export your entire notebook as PDF or offline notebook. So let's talk about how LabArchives works in the in a team setting by talking about notebook roles and permission. So the notebook is at the center of the workflow. At the top, we have the notebook owner. At the top, excuse me. This could be a PI, a director, a lead on the project, or anyone your team chooses. So for every notebook in LabArchives, there can only be one owner. And that person that originally creates the notebook automatically becomes the notebook owner. And as a notebook owner, you have the opportunity to share data, invite other members to the notebook, and decide if their role should be administrator, user, or guest. And also, you have the opportunity to control some notebook settings, such as enabling page signing or page signing and witnessing in your notebook. And of course, notebook owners can also transfer ownership of their notebooks at any time. We have a notebook administrator. This could be a senior research tech, a lab manager, or any other research team member that should also have access management permission. Having administrator is a good idea for notebook owners who may not be actively engaging with the notebook on a regular basis. Therefore, you can have as many notebook administrators as you please. And notebook administrators and notebook owners have full read-write access to the notebook and of course have the ability to share the notebook to their colleagues. And then we have a user. This could be a postdoc, a researcher, or a graduate student. So someone performing research day to day, they have read and write access to all or parts of the notebook, but do not have the ability to invite other members to the notebook. And then finally, we have guest, which is shown in gray, and this means it has the lowest access role in LabArchives. This could be maybe a rotational student, maybe an intern, maybe a volunteer, maybe an external collaborator. By default, they have edit rights for 60 days and then move to read access only. And finally, let's talk about the notebook structure. So over time, you'll likely collect access to multiple notebooks. So this slide illustrates a few options you have to structure your notebooks. With this example, we have one notebook owner that owns multiple notebooks across the research team. So at the bottom, we have individual notebook that can be assigned to one research team member. You can think of it as a way to a classic paper notebook where this notebook can be used as a research portfolio where you gather all your data until maybe your last day of your program, maybe your position. Your PI will have access to the notebook, so if you need help or if they need to see your data, they have access to your work. And of course, when you leave the lab, your superiors will continue to have access to the notebook. Example to the left, this could be used as a project, grant-based, or shared research notebook. This is where a notebook owner creates one notebook for a specific project the team is working on. So each collaborator in this project will be invited to the notebook and all the data will be entered into this notebook. We also recommend teams to create a notebook to store items such as protocol, lab meeting notes, or other lab related items, such as maybe data from specific pieces of a lab equipment, or even publications for training purposes. And then finally, on the far right, this could be used as a project-based notebook or for specific workflows where the notebook owner may want to limit access to specific folders. So for example, we see this a lot in smaller research teams where they start with a single lab notebook and assign specific folders to each team member. So each team member, so for example, I have my own folder, maybe Ashley would have her own folder, maybe my own colleague Hannah will have her own folder, and then we place our data into our assigned folders. So the main point here, you have a lot of flexibility and there's no right or wrong approach. We recommend you to create a system that best mimics your current workflow and what may already be working well for you. With that being said, let's now transition to the live demo. But before I do that, are there any questions? Okay, and I don't see any questions in the chat, so we can continue on. Cool. So now we're in my notebook. We'll use my sample notebook for today to give you the tour of the platform. So the center of the workspace, this is called a page. A page in LabArchives is where you directly place your data. On the left-hand side of the screen, this is your notebook structure. So here you see all your folders, subfolders, and pages in this notebook. The structure is completely customizable for you because it allows you to rename, move folders and pages, and even delete them. So let's say I want to delete my FB page. I can do so by right-click and click delete. And when I click delete again, that'll go to my trash can icon at the bottom of my notebook structure. But it's important to note that in LabArchives, your activity, or excuse me, your data can never be permanently deleted. So we can always undelete the data and bring it back to your notebook. So this, for example, if I want to bring back my Chem Sketch page, I can do that by right-click and click undelete. And when I click undelete, my Chem Sketch page will then return to my notebook. This is intentional as we want to protect the integrity of your research data and also help you protect you from human error in case a deletion may have been accidental. So let's now visit a existing page under my September folder. So you now see a new page with all of its associated data, but also a couple of things I want you to be aware of. So at the top, I created a name convention to name my page, which I included my initial, the date, the mouse strain ID and type, and the mouse ID. I also included a variety of entry types to help me capture and add my data to the page. I have headings on the page to help organize different sections, an inventory list that I created with my inventory account to track items I used in my experiment, my protocol that I typed into a rich text entry, and then my results, which I was able to include different file types, including an image from my iPhone camera, also files from our integration partners, including Prism and Snapgene. As I mentioned earlier, on October 31st, we'll go over more about this during our advanced topic session. And also I was able to include a JPEG file as well. If you look at the upper right corner of each entry, you'll notice my name, the date, and the timestamp. This is an important feature to point out as this serves as official audit trail. So in LabArchives, you have a full complete audit trail with a revision history that tracks each notebook entry. And the timestamp is generated by a trusted third-party global time source. And the fact that it's third-party generated is important because this means that the timestamp cannot be altered, modified any way, or deleted. And it can only change when you make edits to this particular entry. So let's now create a new page. So when you click on the +2 menu, you see options to add a new folder, add a new page, or even copy a page. So the copy page feature is especially helpful if you want to reuse page content somewhere else in your notebook. So many researchers, like myself, like to create their own page templates to establish a consistent structure as to where and how the data is organized on a page. We'll talk more about page templates next week. But of course, if you decide to create page templates, you can use your existing page, your templates already established in your open notebook by clicking on Copy Existing Page, or you can even copy templates from another notebook as well when you click Copy from another notebook. So for today's demo, I'm going to start by creating a fresh page and name it MCW page. So for now, you notice the page is blank. We'll turn to this page in a few minutes and add data to it. But before I do that, I want to give you a navigational tour of some of the other key areas of the notebook. So after you create your LabArchives account, you may acquire access to multiple notebooks. When you click on the notebooks link, you'll see all the lists of notebooks you have access to or you have owned. The notebooks in bold indicate notebooks you own, while the other notebooks in this list are notebooks you have been invited to. The search box allows you to search for notebooks by name. We also have a notebook stack. This is your notebook manager, where you can choose which notebook you want to show or hide in your notebook list. And then we have the plus button. This is how you create a new notebook. So the steps are very simple. After you give a notebook a name, you then choose a full layout. We have default layouts available for you. And when you click on the info icon, you'll see how the layouts are structured. If you choose a lab layout, for example, you can always undelete the folder you don't want, rename them, or change the order. The from another notebook layout will copy the folder structure that you used in a prior notebook, but won't copy any of the data or pages. And of course, if you prefer to build and customize your own layout like I did in my notebook, just choose none. So let's do, for this example, I'm going to create a notebook. I'm going to type MCW demo, and I'm going to choose from another notebook. And when I click on the info icon, you see which folder names that will be copied to this new notebook. And when I click Create Notebook and click OK, I'm already automatically in my new notebook. And notice how my folders from my prior notebook are appearing, but what you don't see though are my pages. Okay, so let's go back to my notebook. So I can introduce you to our search feature. So at the top, we have our search feature. So from here, you can do a simple search within your open notebook. Type in the keywords and click on the magnifying glass. Or when you click on the upside down triangle, this is how you can open the advanced search menu, which allows you to refine your search criteria. And how it does that is that the advanced search menu gives you the option to search within your current notebook, all notebooks, or even selected notebooks. This is especially helpful if you want to find a data set and you don't remember which notebook it is in. It's also one of the biggest benefits of moving away from a paper notebook to LabArchives, which is the fact that you don't have to flip page by page through your paper notebook to locate data and hoping that you can read your colleague's handwriting. Another benefit of the search is that you are able to search keywords within the body of a text-based document, such as your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and text-based PDFs. And of course, any of our chemists here, in our advanced search menu, you have the ability to search chemical structure in SMILES format as well. Continuing with the rest of the top navigational bar, we have the name menu, where you can adjust your user properties, the bell icon, which is your activity feed, which provides you a way to manage your notebook activities. The info icon, this is your help hub. This is where you can access our support team, our knowledge base, quick start guides, and video tutorials. And then we have our test tube. And this is where you can access our inventory product. So inventory provides a simple customized solution for organizing and tracking ordering lab material. It also closely integrated with a notebook because when I click on the test tube, it'll take me to my inventory. And if I need to go back to my notebook, I simply click on the notebook icon. As I mentioned, MCW does not have inventory as their enterprise license. However, when you click on the inventory or test tube icon, you can set up your 90-day free trial. And we also offer a bi-weekly webinar on this product if you want to learn more as well. And then finally, we have the triple dot menu where you'll see some other primary tools that were used during our session today. So let's go back to our MCW page that we created earlier, and now let's discuss how you can add data to your notebook. But before I do that, I'm going to take a quick pause for anyone who has questions on what we talked about so far. Cool. Okay. So from the top of the page, you'll see the +2 menu. This is where you can add an entry, and also this is where you can see all the entry types we have available for you. Next to the menu, this is your list of your frequently used entry types, which will change based on your usage. So today's demo will cover some of the most popular ones, starting with rich text entry. So let's go click +new and click rich text. So within the rich text, you can directly add your notes, your data, maybe your protocol, for example. You can even copy your over data from another resource, such as a Word document, and paste it here. So for this example, I'm going to type, this is my protocol And if I need to, I can change the font, maybe the size, add color by going to or clicking on more text and clicking text color. I can have a number list, or I can use a bullet list by going to more paragraph and click unorder list. I can embed links to point out resources not stored in my notebook, images, videos, or even a table feature to add well plates to my entry as well. So once you're finished making changes or adding content to your rich text entry, once you click Save to Page, you'll notice this entry will have its own entry toolbar with options allowing you to edit the entry, move the entry, add a comment to this entry, and other options that we'll cover a bit later on in our session today. And of course, if you look at the upper right corner, you'll see my timestamp is activated. So now let's use our attachment entry. So let's click on plus new and click attachment. So from here, you can browse for attachments on your computer, or you can use the drag and drop feature to add them directly to the page. You can upload up to 50 attachments at one time. So for this example, I'm going to click Browse Files, and I'm going to my demo folder, and I'm going to attach Excel file and a PNG file. As a reminder, each individual file has to be under 250 megabytes. After adding your attachments, there's a couple ways you can, I guess, add metadata, for example. So in terms of the naming convention in your file, we recommend adding the date, maybe your initial, your experiment name. Another way to add metadata is adding a subscription under the description field. So you may consider adding details such as project name, project code, or even experiment number. And the reason why this increased metadata is that this becomes searchable through the search menu. So let's now save my attachments. And you'll see my attachments are now on my page. If you like to control the placement of your next entry, such as placing entry in between two existing entries, just hover your mouse between two entries until you see the insert flag. And when you click on the insert flag, this gives you an opportunity to attach another entry type. So for this example, I'm going to select heading as my next entry type and label my heading as results. As a reminder, heading can be used to help give order to the page and highlight key entries or attachments. So next, I'd like to show you two additional methods of getting data into your notebook through our downloadable tools. So from the triple dot menu, under Downloads, you see options to download Folder Monitor and Microsoft Office plugin. So let's talk about Folder Monitor first. So on this sample page I have for you here, I have a screenshot of Folder Monitor, which was created on our back end, and what it looks like after it's downloaded and opened from your computer. So Folder Monitor is a great tool to use if you want to copy files from your local file folder on your computer and quickly add them to your notebook. And how you do that is by establishing rules. So for example, I established a rule called sample upload where I want files from this local source folder to be transferred or copied over to my archived folder in my Gloria Randy's notebook. This is important because each time one of those files on my computer is edited or I add new file to that folder, that will be uploaded to LabArchives for me. So we see this often used in labs that may be using equipment that generates external files, such as image documents, for example. If you can send those image documents to your local file folder, then Full Monitor can import them into LabArchives for you. And if I scroll down, this is how the workflow is like on a Mac, where I choose my local file folder and then choose which file I want to be placed in my LabArchives notebook. And finally, Full Monitor can even create the same folder and subfolder structure that you have on your computer and add that structure to your notebook as well. So let's talk about Microsoft Office plugin. So as a reminder, you can download Microsoft Office plugin by going to the triple dot menu and click Downloads or menu, and then click Microsoft Office plugin to download it to your computer. So the purpose of Microsoft Office plugin is that it allows you to open and save documents from LabArchives directly in Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, and is both Windows and Mac friendly. And when you download the Microsoft Office plugin, and when you go to your Office desktop, like for example, this case is my Excel. When you click on File, you see our LabArchives menu, where you see options to open files or Microsoft files in your notebook and see it in your desktop. And also have an option to save as. So let's say I click Save As, and when I click Save As, you'll see this screenshot or this screen will pop up, give me the opportunity to name my file, and also give me the opportunity to excuse me, also give me the opportunity to decide where I want the file to be located in my notebook. And this is important because when we do that, we're establishing a link between this Excel document and my notebook. So every time I make changes to this particular Excel, this screenshot or this window will pop up asking me if I want to make those updates to my notebook as well. Also keep in mind that Audit Trail and Vision History is also updated to track the full history of the document. So the file entry type I like to discuss today are called widgets. So widgets are selectable from the plus new menu. And here you see all the built-in widget and any customized widget you have access to. So widgets are a customized HTML-based form that you can embed in your notebook. And I have example page of what a widget looks like on a page. So you see all our built-in examples. I have our Chem Sketch widget. I have a conservation calculator. I have a PCR calculator, a freezer box widget, which you can use as a well plate, for example. And if I scroll down, you see example of a custom widget that was built by one of our customers. So custom widget can be helpful in creating maybe standardized forms for items such as SOPs, protocols, or form specific to a project and experiment you're working on. So without custom widgets, you can add interactive elements such as text box, checkboxes, drop-down menus, or even calculated fields. So this is important because when this team created this custom widget, every time they use this custom widget, they're ensured that their cell concentration is correct. And since a widget is considered an entry type, every time they save a widget, they're establishing an entry, or excuse me, audit trail. So to create a custom widget, you go to our triple dot menu, and under widget, you'll see our widget manager. We'll go over more in detail about widgets on, I think next week. Next week, October 31st. And also another opportunity you can go and learn about widget is we have our boot camp going on, and on Friday at 1 p.m. Central, we have our session that talks about widgets as well. And also another thing is that you can always contact our support team for a free consult, and they can help you brainstorm your custom widget and also help you learn how to make your own custom widgets. So now that we added data to the notebook, let's discuss how you can edit and manage existing data. Are there any questions about adding your data before we move into the next section? Okay, cool. Very quiet group. That's totally okay. Okay. So you may remember I added some attachments to the page, such as an Excel file and an image file. This gives me opportunity to introduce an alternative way to work with Office documents through our Office Online integration. So the Office Online integration allows you to edit documents while you're in LabArchives by clicking on the pencil icon. Notice when I did that, a separate tab launches that allows me to view and edit the documents while I'm still logged into my notebook. So let's case on my ELISA spreadsheet, I want to type add more text. When I did that, notice how it's saved automatically. And when I go back to my notebook, you'll see the timestamp is updated. Another benefit of using the Office Line integration is that multiple people can work in the document at the same time. We also have an image annotator that allows you to edit images in your notebook. So to annotate an image, hover over image and click on the annotate icon. So in this case, in my mast cell image, I want to underline antigen. Maybe I want to circle this, and then maybe I want to add more text. I want to add, look at this, and maybe my initials. If I need to, I can increase the size. I can move around this text as well. And once I finish making changes to this image, I click Save. And then when I go back to my notebook, you'll see my changes. Now this is a great time to show you the revision history. So remember that everything that's done in LabArchives is recorded. So from the entry toolbar, when you click on the triple dot icon and click View Revisions, you'll see this particular entry's revision history, showing you who did it, when, and the summary of the revision. And when you click on the timestamp, you'll see the preview of the version as well. You also have the ability to revert to earlier versions if you want to roll back and edit. So let's say this mast cell is what I did to my mast cell is very ugly. I don't know why I circle like that, and this is kind of inappropriate for me to say. And I want to go back to my earlier version. So I'm going to click on revert to as a version and click OK. Not only my mast cell returns with none of my edits, but when I go to its revision history, you'll see that action was archived. But let's say I want to delete my mast cell. I can by going to the triple dot menu and click delete. And when I click OK, now it looks like my math cell is gone, is deleted. But remember that nothing is ever permanently deleted from my notebook. So if I want to bring back my math cell back, I can by going to the page revision, which is found in that page tool icon below the triple dot menu. And when I click View Visions, you see all the changes that I did on this page, including how I deleted my math cell. And when I click Undelete and click OK, my math cell returns, and those two revisions were also documented. While we're covering the entry toolbar, let me quickly highlight the pencil icon allows you to edit the entry. The arrows allow you to move the entry. And then we have the comment bubble, which allows you to collaborate and communicate with your fellow researchers, which is another great benefit of using LabArchives to manage research data. So the steps are very simple. So when you click on the comment bubble, you can then direct your comment to your colleague by adding the @email in the beginning or end of the comment. So let's say I have a question for my colleague, Linda. I want to ask her, hey, are you free today? I'm not sure. Oh, wait, let me just write, I need help. I need help. Once I click add the comment, my colleague Linda will receive the email notification about the comment and then can respond through the email link or through the notebook. And since the comment does not alter the actual entry, it can be deleted permanently by clicking on the pencil icon. What's also included in the triple dot menu is our linking tool. So with our linking tool, you have the opportunity to link out an external website, such as a file that may be your personal Box account, for example, or you can even link out a separate section within the notebook. So this could be great for if you don't want to have duplicate protocols, for example, you can link out your protocol entry, or you can link out your results, for example, as well. So I'll give you an example of how that workflow is like. So when I click at page, click on or page or entry this notebook and click browse, I then choose which page I want to link out or which entry. So let's say I want to link out my introduction page. And when I click link to, I then decide which version of or entry I want to use. I can either decide I want to use the most current version or when this link was created. And when I click on that, I can add a subscription if necessary as well. And when I click add link and click close, you'll see a notebook icon, like a page icon allowing me to click on my introduction page. With links, you also have opportunity to link out different sources. Like for example, I have an entry where I link out a link from Google, links from my notebook, my OneDrive, and also my Box account as well. Next, let's talk about the benefits of adding tags to your notebook. So tags are accessible to the entry toolbar, triple dot menu. And within the tags menu, you have opportunity to add existing tag or add a new tag. So teams use this feature to help add metadata to a notebook and also to help them create a control vocabulary that may be specific to a research project, maybe apply a relevant tag to a data set, for example, which makes tags searchable and the data easily retrievable. So the better your metadata is, the more likely you're able to find data when you need the most. So for example, I have attachment with my PCR analyst tag. And when I click on the tag, my notebook is able to retrieve attachments that also have that tag. So you see I have attachments from different folders, different pages, and even attachment that has multiple tags as well. And keep in mind, you can directly search your tags from the advanced search menu, but this time you're able to search that particular tag across multiple notebooks. So I mentioned a few minutes ago, when you create a comment, it creates a notification, and that notification can be tracked through the activity feed, which is accessible through the bell icon at the top of the page or through the triple dot menu as well. So within the activity feed, it shows you chronological order of all the activities for you, making it easy to locate recent actions. Also, what's kind of cool about the activity feed is that you can choose which category. So you can look at your notebook's activities. You can look at notification. So anytime your colleague mentioned a comment to you, or you can also look at an individual users and see what they did or they did in your notebooks. And of course, you have the opportunity to go back to your notebook by just exiting out the activity feed. We'll wrap up on our section on managing editing data with page signing and witnessing feature. So to sign a page, simply go to the tool icon and click sign a page. I have an example of what a signed page looks like. So you see this page is signed, and you also see that there's a lock image along with the date and name of the person that signed it. When a page is signed in LabArchives, it means that the page and all the entries on the page are locked and cannot be edited. So we see this often used in research teams as a way to improve an experiment when it's completed. So some teams go beyond that and utilize page signing with witnessing. So in this example, I have a pending page witnessing, where I start the process and then I send the request to my witnesser, Lisa Johnson. If Lisa approves it, the lock is activated. If they reject it, because I need to make some changes, they then send back to me and the lock is unlocked. It's important to note that page signing witnessing is FDA 21 CFR Part 11 compliant for teams that need to meet those requirements. So now that we have a notebook full of data, let's discuss how you can share your data and invite your collaborators and colleagues to your notebook. This is also known as access or user management. Are there any questions before we move on, though? Okay, great. So remember that 2 of the 4 access roles have the ability to share, the notebook admin and the notebook owner. As a notebook owner or notebook administrator, you have access to the notebook settings from the triple dot menu. And through the notebook settings, you have a series of tabs, and we'll focus on the middle tab, which is called user management. And this is how you invite your colleagues to your notebook. So you see that I have several teammates that already have access to my notebook. They each have a role assigned to them, and you can change their role at any time. To invite a colleague, simply select new user and enter their email address. And when they're invited, they'll initially have a user role, but you can change it if necessary. Through the trash can icon, you can remove a user access, but it's important to note that removing access does not remove their data or notebook contributions. This simply removes their ability to access this notebook. Notebook owners can transfer ownership of the notebook to another team member by clicking on ownership transfer. And finally, you'll notice that page signing and witnessing turn on in my notebook, and this is where I can assign my notebook members permission to sign or witness content. So what I show you through the user management is how you invite someone to the entire notebook and all the contents of the notebook. But there may be cases in which you don't want your colleague to see everything, but instead want to limit access to parts of the notebook, maybe such as a folder, page, or even an entry. If that's the case, let's navigate to my notebook structure and right-click on my templates folder, for example. From here, I then select Share, and this is where you can invite your colleague to, in this case, my templates folder, by adding their email address and then giving them edit or view access. While I'm here and I've right-clicked on my templates folder, let me use this as the opportunity to show you that you can export and download your pages, your folders by creating a PDF. You can additionally download and export your entire notebook. If you'd like to create a backup copy of the notebook by going to the triple dot menu and click Utilities. From here, you can select Create Offline Notebook or Notebook to PDF. So the first option for Notebook to PDF does exactly what it sounds like, which is puts your notebook into PDF format. It includes a clickable table of contents that allows you to click through the chosen section. The key thing to point out is that it includes a thumbnail of the attachment and a link to download the attachment from the original notebook. In some cases, if you want to prefer to have immediate access to all your attachments rather than downloading each one separately, if that's the case, you want to consider the offline notebook, which is also considered the high fidelity option. So the offline notebook, there you go. This is an HTML base and downloads as a zip file that includes all my attachments that have been extracted and now easily accessible for my use outside of the web application. So this was a notebook feature that I want to share with you today, but I think it'll be a good idea to give you a quick recap or reminder of what we covered in our session today. So we started first with the basic navigational tour of the layout of the notebook. So we talked about the structure, how you able to create your notebook, search notebooks, add, manage, edit data, as well as manage access to your data. We then wrap up with options to download and export your data. As a reminder, let me point out the info icon for you where you can access our support team, knowledge base, and other important resources. If you have any questions after our session today, or even want to request additional training, please contact our support team at support@labarchives.com. Before we end our session today, I do want to remind you that please also visit your LibGuide. I can add the link to the chat again, and this will be another great resource for you if you ever need help when you're using LabArchives. So we have a couple minutes left for questions. So I'm going to stop and ask for anyone who has a question. I see one in the chat. Oh, yeah, no problem. Thank you for coming. Yeah, we can pause here for anyone who has questions. And for anyone who needs to leave, thank you so much for your time and attention today. And I'll give Ashley the recording after this session.
Thank you so much, Gloria.
All right, thank you. So we can end here, but I hope everyone has a great morning.
You too.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.